This video, we're currently in Plymouth with a laid up crew member, but this video covers the time we were going from Langstone Harbour to Gosport Marina in Portsmouth.
We check out the Round the World yachts, and we also climb the Spinnaker Tower.
We took a trip back in history and we visited Warrior, Mary Rose and Victory all in one day.
And we follow the boats from the marina who are on the Fastnet race. And we also check out life under the waves.
And once the strong winds had passed, we cleared out of the Solent to the west and beyond.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.
Nice morning for leaving. Really nice anchorage this, right in the middle of nowhere over there. There's lots of moorings up this end. I presume there's visitors' moorings, we just didn't bother. I think you get a bit more tide than we got on spring tides, but it was very gentle. Seems to be a popular little pub that. There was lots of people in there yesterday when we came in. And I think the Mulberry Harbour, I think that's part of the old Mulberry Harbour that was built during the war to take over to France as a temporary harbour, but that piece obviously never made it. So those are the main marks as you come in, and you can see the pier and then a radar mast, and then the chimney's probably the most distinctive on the way in. And as you go out to sea, you can see the fairway buoy pretty clearly in the distance there. Sticks out very clearly against the horizon. So where are you taking us today?
Gosport.
Gosport's a big port, Navy vessels. Anything special?
Big ones up my arse again, no doubt.
So what's the plan?
We're going right out, or we go around and go across the end of the channel before we turn back in.
Coming.
All the big boys.
And what do we have to do on the way in?
Go in our own little channel.
Our own little channel, own yacht channel, yeah. Small boats channel. To keep out of the way of the big boats. Cool. So we're just going from Langstone Harbour. We were in here last night. We're just coming out of the channel at this moment, and we've got two options. We could go through this little channel here, but Mary doesn't fancy that, and I don't really. It's a bit shallow. So we'll come right out, around past Horse Elbow, and past the Sand Fort, across the channel there, and then we go up this side. And there is actually, it doesn't show on this larger scale chart, but there is a yacht, small boats channel to go up there into Gosport Marina, which you can see on there just in the middle, so it's just there. And we should be able to see the Spinnaker Tower just across the river from us, just across the estuary from us. Why are you eating celery?
I'm just going to start eating properly.
Our healthy diet aboard the good ship Iquitos. Very commendable. What are you pointing out?
The marker at the end of the sunken, whatever it was, barrier.
Okay. We've got some sunshine today, nice day on the Solent. Not much wind though. So we're heading a bit closer to the Spinnaker Tower. We seem to have been sailing around it and actually got close to it. We should be able to see it just across the river today. So these are two of the Solent forts. The one in the foreground is the one we're going to go around. And then the far one, I guess they were all designed to protect the Solent during the war. Pretty big chunk of concrete. Yeah, I think the gulls have a good time now. I'm not sure where anybody lives on it now. One of them's been converted, but I don't think it's that one. Great lookout. So I guess if you want to rent or buy or something, you get on to solentforts.com. Seems to be the one to go for. We're just going into Gosport, and it's quite tricky getting in here. There's lots of sand forts which are a bit confusing because they show up as a mark on the charts, but when you zoom in, of course, they're a big circular thing.
Cement thing, concrete thing.
Concrete thing, yeah. So yeah, so we're coming in just to the port side of the main channel. So we don't want to go too far because it gets shallow there. But interestingly, we're on channel 11. The call sign for the harbour master here is QHM, which is the Queen's Harbour Master. So they have their own private monarch, the Queen's Harbour Master, which is very posh. So this is the entrance into Gosport. Solent Fort on the left, and then we're just following to the port side of the port hand marks. It gets shallow over here, but inside, just inside the port marks, as you can see there, just inside this line, there's plenty of water for us. There is a secondary channel that runs off where the hovercraft is over there, heading out to the west, and we're headed into the main ship canal, and then we have to join the small craft channel. Oh, interesting, there's a bell on there, do you hear it? It's clever how it rings with the waves just waggling it about. This one looks like it's been painted a bit and converted. It's got some building work on it, it's got a nice rib on the side of it. The cranes look like they're operational. Yeah, nice pad if you can afford it, or I think it's maybe a hotel. So that's what the entrance into the port looks like. So you've got Portsmouth on the right, Gosport on the left. We're obviously to the left of the channel because we're getting a red flashing light, but that's okay. There's a yacht coming up here, yeah. So we're going to take the small ship's channel up the port side of the channel. Quite a bit of water coming out of here, so that's to increase speed, and there's lots of swirlies. So that's the entrance into Gosport. It's a little confusing here because there's a mooring dolphin just to the right of the entrance here. Well, it's right in the middle of the entrance, but it's actually a mooring pontoon for the tanker that's on the right. And you can see some yellow marks across there just to stop you going through that gap there, but it is a little bit strange. Nice if you want to do some long distance travelling. So is Mary thinking of jumping ship and joining the clip all around the world? Yeah, I think you want a bit of bling and a bit of red. Yeah, that's cheered that up no end. Some of you will recognise this as Suhaili. She was a round the world yacht, and it was owned by Robin Knox Johnston. So we're having a day out today, going across the river by ferry to see all the maritime museums on the other side and the spinnaker tower. Shame to see her like that. Doesn't look like it's been down there long actually. I'll get it restored soon. Where all young lifeboat drivers come to learn. So since we're here, we decided we'd go up the spinnaker tower and have a look what the views were like from the top. So wind against tide's not a good idea then.
You're going to get worse as the week goes on as well.
Yeah. And the following day we came back and actually did the museum tours, as this is Warrior, Queen Victoria's favourite warship. The boilers, although they look shiny now, it would have been a black and dirty place to work. It was interesting to see the mix of cannon which would have been loaded from the muzzle, and this one which had a screw-in breech, so it was loaded from the aft end. Extensive workshop facilities here. And we took the tour of Mary Rose, which is remarkably well preserved considering it was at the bottom of the Solent for so long. It's lovely to see the structures and all the things that they found, surgeon's saws and personal items on board, musical instruments. And this is what she would have looked like when she was a model of what she looked like. Navigation instruments haven't changed much since that time, but she did have some beautiful things on board. And having queued for a bit, we went aboard Victory, Nelson's famous flagship. And this was Nelson's berth, and this was poignantly the last place he was alive. He died in this corner of the surgeon's all-up room. So, beer of the day. What is the beer of the day?
Doom bar.
And what's the verdict? This is the provisioning that Gypsy Moss made when he went round the world, Sir Francis Chichester, on Gypsy Moth 4. Having a wee wander around the yard, we saw some of the boats that are going in to the Fastnet race the following day. Pretty impressive. We were doing some work on before it went. I think that's the James Bond yacht from it's a Spirit yacht. This was the map of the boats that were arriving for the Fastnet race. Let's be on dryer watching duties. Mary's off to see one of her friends, so it still has a few minutes to go, so I'm looking after the washing and drying machines. I did manage while the dryer was drying to watch some of the start of the Fastnet race. Some of the boats that we'd seen in the marina were starting, quite famous names in here, including some of the French boats, and Alec Thompson on Hugo Boss. And I actually saw some of the photographs and video of the start. It was I was glad we weren't actually out there to go and watch it. It was pretty hard conditions, 35-40 knots they were blowing. And this is a view of them just starting to leave the Solent, with the classes starting first. This was one of the boats that we followed. It was been in our marina at Gosport. This photo just shows how many boats actually start this and what a melee it is when you actually start the race. And this is a view of them leaving the Solent, heading out to sea, and a bit further into the race with the multi-hulls out in the distance. And the following day we made a trip just beyond Haslar Marina to the Submarine Museum. It's a nice Gardner diesel. Push this thing along. Not very much space in there really. You couldn't stand up, that was for sure. The pennants on the submarines all had insignia that showed what they'd done, what they'd sunk, and different types of clandestine operations they were involved in. It's amazing how complex the instrumentation and controls are inside these submarines. Look at the valves here. It's amazing how you find your way around in all that. Just look at the size of the flogging spanner to tie down the cylinder head. Very early submarines, covered and restored, and it's in its own hermetically sealed area that you can watch it in. And as we were having our lunch, we got a visitor who was obviously after our sandwiches. A very tame looking fox came across and had a look around to see what was in the bins and what people were giving away. This is a 15-inch gun breech, so this would fire 18 miles. And it fired a shell that was 800 kilograms, so nearly a ton, travelling 18 miles. Wow. And the Fastnet race had reached Land's End. Hi Gosport, had a good time here, good facilities, premier marina, very good quality. This was the line to avoid, coming in here and out. Go past the second dolphin and then you're clear to go to sea. Join the yacht channel, so there's 2 or 3 yachts waiting to go. We'll join that row of yachts. Chaos here. Boats up the channel, people waiting to go to the fuel berth, people in the wrong channel. Oh my goodness, we're really on the wrong side of this boat, but he's intent on going into the marina by the look of it. The pretty iconic view of the Spinnaker Tower, and a nice time here in Haslar Marina. Quite a big marina, that one, with the Submarine Museum at the end of it. We went to that, it was good. We've got windy going because we're down on power at the moment. Ran out of power overnight, so that's gone off. I think we need to go to channel 11 for the harbour master. I don't know if you can hear it, but the band is practicing in there. We heard them yesterday. And stay on the Solent by the look of it. The horizon out here is teeming with boats. It's not a good look, that, is it? Oh dear. So we left the Solent going west, heading for Hurst Castle. This is Hurst Castle. So who's the character on your shoulder?
It's Ratty Rat.
Where did we get him from?
Well, technically off the Mary Rose.
So he's been with us since Portsmouth then. What about the other characters we have?
Well, we've got Charlie, obviously, for Chaplin, and we've got the Highland Coo from Scotland, and of course we've got Nessie
From where? From
from Loch Ness.
Loch Ness, where we live. Cool. So who's the crew member that's laid up?
What?
And what have you done?
Broken my knee,
Oh dear, how did that happen?
jumping off the boat. Not very far. 2 feet. Just happened it didn't go right.
So you're in some sort of mechanical splint. What's the prognosis?
Leave it well alone and let it mend. Hopefully.
Hope you enjoyed the video. My favourite bit was the trip to see the Mary Rose. Join us next time when we leave the Solent by Hurst Castle and go over to Studland Bay.
Where we then leave Studland Bay early to catch the tide gate at St Albans Head.
And Mary talks us into Lulworth Cove, and I learn about Durdle Door before we head over to Portland Harbour.
Where there we check out the Olympic Village, and we also help friends see their koi carp.
We leave Portland Harbour in the dead of night to meet the tide gate at the Bill of Portland.
So please like, share and comment, and click the bell so you don't miss our next video. Bye.
Bye. So where are you taking us today?